Uncut thoughts. NFL season never sleeps. Today was the first day of the tampering period before free agency officially starts Wednesday. But today was spicy. What I'm going to do is go through every team signings, who they retained, and who they have so far, and give my honest opinion on each team. With that being said, let's get right into it. And we will start with the Arizona Cardinals. So the Cardinals had a lot of signings today. They signed five players, including Isaac Samalo, offensive guard, 3 years, 31.5 million. A nice signing there to bolster the interior of the offensive line. Tyler Algier, 2 years, 12.25 million, up to 16.525 if he hits incentives. Defensive line, Roy Lopez. Wide receiver, Kendrick Bourne. And quarterback, Gardner Minshew. So the Cardinals are a team that's in a full-on rebuild. New head coach. Just got rid of Kyler Murray. This team is just going to build depth, bring in some nice pieces for the run game, which Tyler Algier is. You got the offensive line. Kendrick Bourne's a vet. He's definitely going to provide some depth in case of injuries or just a guy that can earn more reps because he is a player that can, from time to time, explode. So overall, I give the Cardinals a C grade because they didn't make a big impact signing, but overall they got guys that can definitely help them in this rebuild. Atlanta Falcons, you got Jahan Dotson, a big name a couple years ago, first round pick. Went to the Eagles, kind of revived his career after a slow start in Washington. Jake Bailey, a punter. Austin Hooper, who was just with the Patriots, goes back to Atlanta. Cameron Thomas, Tua Tagovailoa, Nick Folk as a kicker, Zacchaeus, the wide receiver, I can't say his first name, and then Christian Harris at linebacker. Those two terms of the last two names I said weren't disclosed. The big signing here, I guess you can say Jahan Dotson and Tua. Tua was just released. Atlanta has Michael Penix Jr., who is also a lefty, so it's kind of cool to see the only two lefties, I believe, well, two of the three lefties in the NFL on the same team. So Tua's in a system now where he's going to have Bijan Robinson, an improved offensive line. But overall, this is a prove-it deal for Tua. He will get some opportunities to start as Penix is returning back from injury. So I think that's probably the signing here that a lot of people will talk about. Can Tua revive his career like we've seen a lot of other guys do lately? Or did the concussions really get to the man? Overall, I give Atlanta a C minus here. No impact signings, but they do get a quarterback to start after the loss of Kirk Cousins. Jahan Dotson has potential to be the wide receiver three there. And Austin Hooper is a good veteran. And they got Jake Bailey and Nick Folk for special teams. Baltimore Ravens, not much here. They did trade for Max Crosby a few days ago. They signed John Simpson to a 3-year, $30 million contract. So he goes from the Ravens to the Jets, back to the Ravens now. And they retained Tyler Huntley for the backup quarterback role. Max Crosby is the big move here, of course. You're getting a top 5 defensive player, one of the best edge rushers, a dog. This team is looking to get to the Super Bowl. Henry's older. Lamar's a proven vet, has the MVPs. He just needs that Super Bowl now. You get some good offensive line depth with John Simpson, possible fill-in starter. I give the Ravens a B. I love the Max Crosby signing. Don't love the Simpson signing, and Huntley is a good vet to have backup Lamar, mobile, knows the system well. Crosby's why it got to a B here because he is going to make a big impact on this team. I just would have liked to see them do more, but Again, this is the tampering period, so this is all initial thoughts, uncut. Buffalo Bills, DJ Moore, the big trade, and then they signed D. Al Horford from Atlanta Falcons and Kyle Allen to be the backup now that Mitch Trubisky left. Um, I give the Bills a B minus here. DJ Moore may not be what he was, but he's also never had Josh Allen throwing him the ball. For the Bills, Khalil Shakir was the number one receiver. Dalton Kincaid kind of filled in as that when he was healthy. Keon Coleman has been a bust per se after going and getting him in the first round 2 years ago. I give the Bills this B minus because they have needed a wide receiver. I was hoping that they would get a more high end wide receiver, maybe a trade for Marvin Harrison Jr., younger with more potential. But DJ Moore is one of the best receivers against man. He's actually top five versus man coverage. And he does get open and he can get deep. So I think overall he's going to fit. I'm not looking for him to be a 1,500-yard receiver, but I think 1,000 yards is definitely possible. And this team with Joe Brady loves to spread the ball around. So B minus for the Bills. Um, the Carolina Panthers, big signing here was Jalen Phillips, formerly a Dolphin, then was traded to the Eagles last year to try to give them that push in the playoffs, but didn't work. They also have Kenny Pickett now as a backup. Robert Rochelle and a Caleb Evans. I'm going to give the Panthers here, I want to say a D. I think first off, Jalen Phillips is an overrated outside linebacker edge guy. Really got the bag, $30 million a year for a team that I really don't think is in that Super Bowl window just yet. They made the playoffs last year, winning 8 games. I do think that division is a toss up, but I just don't think that's a guy that they should have signed. Not a big fan of day one for the Carolina Panthers. The Chicago Bears, Kobe Bryant, Super Bowl champion Kobe Bryant from Seattle Seahawks, 3 years, $40 million. They also got Devin Bush, 3 years, $30 million, and Neville Gallimore, 2 years, $12 million. And then they traded for Garrett Bradbury. Um, I'm gonna give the Bears a C here. I like Kobe Bryant. He has the Super Bowl experience. This was a high contract for a safety. Nonetheless, it was needed. Devin Bush, a linebacker, a vet now in the league. Him getting that nice contract there. And then Gallimore, 2 years, $12 million. So the Bears' focus was on defense. Of course, that was a big issue for them last year. So Cincinnati Bengals, Boye Mafe, 3 years, $60 million. Brian Cook, 3 years, $42.5 million. Big signings here. Super Bowl champion and a former Super Bowl champion coming into the building to arguably the worst defense in football with a stellar offense. I think I'm going to give them a C here. I do think Maffei started 4 games last year for Seattle, so he wasn't a starter, but that is Seattle, a deep team on the D line. And you know what? He has experience, but that is a big contract, $20 million a year. And Brian Cook, another safety who got paid here. But Cincinnati wasn't in a position to not pay guys. They needed bodies on defense, and they got it. So I'll give them a C. Cleveland Browns, Zion Johnson, 3 years, $49.5 million. Good signing there for them. Day one, I give them a B minus. They needed to fix the offensive line. Shadir, Deshaun Watson, who's the starting quarterback, who knows? Your guess is as good as mine as of now. Cleveland is a disaster, but offensive line was a big issue for them last year. a lot of injuries, but Zion Johnson will definitely come in. He's a starter, so give them a B minus. Dallas Cowboys retaining George Pickens. That's the big thing here. Rashawn Gary in a trade via the Packers. And then Jalen Thompson, 3 years, $33 million. Overall, I'm going to give the Cowboys a C. I'll give them a B minus here. They hit the defense hard. George Pickens, huge to retain him on a franchise tag, close to $28 million. They also have Brandon Aubrey they retained. So bringing in key guys for them last year on offense and special teams. And then you're getting defense with Gary and Thompson. Rashawn Gary was a surprise move, but he was put on the block. And they just, last year with Mika Parsons, I'm surprised that Dallas would go ahead and have not just paid Parsons. But nonetheless, they got their defensive lineman, Rashawn Gary. Good move for the Dallas Cowboys. Denver Broncos, no signs today. Detroit Lions, Cade Mays, 3 years, $25 million. And offensive tackle Larry Baram, terms not disclosed. I'm going to go C minus here. Detroit really is cap strapped with a lot of guys they've signed in the last few years. Jared Goff, Amon St. Brown. This goes on. Jameson Williams last year. They're just trying to focus on the offensive line here. Not splash plays, but moves that will help them protect Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs to go for 2K, possibly running the ball. The Green Bay Packers, no signs, but they did trade for Zaire Franklin. He was rated the worst linebacker last year via PFF. He does have a Pro Bowl under his belt. I think he's past his prime. Not a big fan of that trade. Overall, I'd give the trade a D. It's a need, but it's not the best player. I think Green Bay's going to have to look to the draft to get young at linebacker. Um, Franklin's a veteran presence, but had a rough year last year. Houston Texans, Reed Blankenship, and at safety, and then the edge, Dominique Robinson. Retained a lot of guys like Daniel Hunter, Dalton Schultz, Trent Brown, Sheldon Rankings. Those are all good moves. As far as the signing grade, I'll focus on this right now. I would say C. I like Blankenship, and I like that, they bolster the defense more with some depth. Blankenship's a good safety. Was with the Eagles, has that Super Bowl experience. A good move for Houston there. And I was not expect. I thought he was going back to the Eagles. Indianapolis Colts, the big move here. Alec Pierce, 4 years, $116 million. At edge, they got Arden Key, 2-year deal, up to $20 million. I like both of these moves for the Colts. Alec Pierce was a guy that was going to get the bag because this wide receiver free agency class was weak. And he actually, rumors are, he took a pay cut of what he could have got. You never know if it's true. From teams like New England, San Francisco, the Raiders, teams that I do believe would throw money at him with their need at wide receiver. But he opted to stay in Indianapolis with the Colts, setting an NFL record for a free agency deal at 4 years, $116 million for a wide receiver. Big move for them. They did trade Michael Pittman, so I expect big things from Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce, he never had 50 catches in a season, but he is a deep threat guy. He is a good X receiver, so I'm going to give the Colts a B minus. Jacksonville Jaguars, no signings today. Kansas City Chiefs, the big one here. Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP, leaves the Seattle Seahawks to go to another Super Bowl winning organization, Kansas City. Big move for Kansas City, in my opinion. They've been looking at running back for what feels like forever. Isaiah Pacheco, he's dust. Kareem Hunt, they've been running him at running back one, dust. Now you get an explosive young 25-year-old running back who really didn't have much wear and tear last year as he was splitting work with Charbonnet. And then when Charbonnet got hurt, Kenneth Walker just exploded, had a great playoff run, capped off by winning the Super Bowl MVP. This deal is also worth 28.7 million guaranteed, and then they get Chrisos Tonga from the New England Patriots, an interior defensive tackle who also is listed as fullback. They did use him at fullback on the goal line a lot, but he is not playing fullback like that. And then Travis Kelce's coming back at 36 years old on a 1-year, $12 million deal. I'm going to give the Kansas City Chiefs an A minus. Running back was a huge need for them. They got it. Tonga, good defensive tackle, good rotational piece for them on those rundowns. And then you get Kelsey back. So when Mahomes is back, he got his best friend. The Raiders now, they may be the winners here. They traded for Taron Johnson at cornerback, Tyler Limberbaum, center, 3 years, $81 million, set the NFL record for a center. Kwity Paye, Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, who chose the Raiders over the Dallas Cowboys. So, maybe he sees something in the Raiders that I don't. Jalen Naylor, wide receiver from the Vikings, and then Eric Stokes, 3 years, $30 million. So they threw the bag. 3 years, 81 million, 3 years, 48 million, 3 years, 40.5 million. Like, they threw the bag, and they had to throw the bag. This team is going to be welcoming Mendoza with the number 1 overall pick soon. They also have pick 14 now in that trade for when they gave away Max Crosby. So the Raiders, I'm going to give an A for today. They hit defense, they hit depth, and they got themselves a wide receiver who had shown signs in Minnesota, but he was stuck behind two dogs and Addison and Jay Jettas. And then Taron Johnson was a great trade for them as well. So they got their corners, their linebackers, and they got a center now who some may say got overpaid, but he's young and obviously he fits their system. The Los Angeles Chargers, Tyler Badis, Charlie Kohler from the Ravens, and Alec Ingold at fullback. I like all these moves. Big thing here is protection, right? Charlie Kohler's a tight end, but he blocks. Fullback Alec Ingold blocks. So they're really going to try to protect Herbert. Last year was tough. It was tough with your two starting tackles out, but these moves should help. It's always good to have tight ends, especially if you're in 12 personnel, 13 personnel, to have that extra blocker or two out there. And he got paid to block. And, good move for the Chargers there. I'm going to give them a B minus. The Rams, Los Angeles Rams, Trent McDuffie traded for. I already talked about that in a video. Don't need to get too much into that, but he did, after that video, sign a 4-year, $124 million extension on top of his 5th-year option this year that he'll be playing under. So the Rams, on paper, will have him for 5 years. They signed today his buddy from Kansas City, Jalen Watson, 3 years, $51 million. And then long snapper Joe Cardona. And they retained Cam Curl and Tyler Higbee on some very team-friendly contracts. I'm going to give the Rams an A minus. The number 1 need was cornerback, and they attacked it, and they got 2 guys that love to play man-to-man. So changes are coming in Los Angeles. That D-line is going to have more time to get to the quarterback now with that soft zone garbage finally gone. And Jalen Watson and McDuffie played together in Kansas City. They got their Super Bowls. Great signing there for the Rams. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, long, lengthy. It's gonna be good times in LA. Miami Dolphins with a big signing. Some said this was the number one free agent. I tend to disagree because very small sample size, but Malik Willis now is a Miami Dolphin. 3 years, $67.5 million, 45 of that guaranteed. Malik Willis, completion percentage last year around 85%. When he did come in for Jordan Love, he looked sharp. Really didn't run as much as he was running in Tennessee. He was looking to throw the ball more. LaFleur really had a perfect system for him. He's going back to some buddies that he had from Green Bay in Miami now on the coaching staff. So it's a good move for Miami. I'm really torn on what to give him because I don't know what to make of Malik Willis on this team. So I'm going to give them a C. They got a need at quarterback, but was the price too high? We will see. Minnesota Vikings, big signing here for them was James Pierre, and it was the only signing, 2 year, $8.5 million. I'll give them a D for this. Would have expected them to do more day one, but there is more time, so that grade can change. But as of right now, no big moves for the Vikings. The New England Patriots, Draymond Jones comes in on a 3 year, $39.5 million contract. Fullback Reggie Gilliam, 3 years, $12 million. And then Jesse Luketa, 1 year deal. And they retained Tommy DeVito to a 2 year, $7.4 million. I'm going to give the New England Patriots a C minus here. Want to go closer to a D, but there is more time. I was expecting them to hit on Evans or Alec Pierce, which is playing into my grade here. I do think Draymond Jones is more of a physical edge than Chazon. Chazon was more elusive on the edge. I think Draymond's going to really make them tough to run on even more. He did have a career year last year with the Titans and the Ravens with 7 sacks, 55 pressures, I believe. So he's a guy that gets at it. He's going to fit perfect in that defensive system. They get a fullback, but my grade's based on what I expected. They're going to lose out on more guys as free agency gets closer in 2 days, but they did hit defense, so and they did get a good guy there. The New Orleans Saints, David Edwards comes over, Travis Etienne, which was a surprise, and Noah Fant. So I'm going to give the Saints a C here. David Edwards is a good guard to have. I know this as a Rams fan, and he played pretty damn well in Buffalo as well. Travis Etienne had a big year last year after a lot of people thought he would be a third string running back in Jacksonville. He proved to be the RB1 and played really well. I don't blame Jacksonville for not paying him. I think that's a huge contract. But New Orleans is showing that Alvin Kamara's days there are numbered. With that signing, they're going with the younger running back who can also catch out of the backfield. They're bolstering the offensive line. Noah Fant always hurt, had potential years ago, but not really a great signing. It's a 2 year deal and not disclosed on the amount yet. The New York Giants, Isaiah Likely, Tremont Edmonds, Jordan Stout, and Adarius Washington. So the two big guys here, Tremont Edmonds and Isaiah Likely. I do like the Likely signing, Harbrough's boy from Baltimore. And, he had to get him back. I think this makes Jackson Dart's life a lot easier. I'd really like to see Likely unleashed in this offense, as I feel like he was held back in Baltimore as they spread it out more, and it's just a run-heavy team. Tremaine Edmonds, a big signing with the Bears. Now with the Giants, a big need for them was linebacker. They still have some holes on defense, but I think that's a good start for them. I'm going to give the New York Giants a B minus here. New York Jets, Demario Davis, linebacker from the Saints, getting up there in age, 2 years, $22 million, coming back home. Joseph Basaya, David Anyamata, Kinsley. Oh, man, these names are killing me. Angabar, Dane Belton, and Andrew Beck. I'm gonna give the Jets a C here. They got a lot of depth on defense, and um, Demario Davis. What is he? 37 years old. I mean, the guy still balls, but and they did trade for Mika Fitzpatrick as well. 3-year, $40 million contract on top of that. Brees Hall franchise tag. So the Jets didn't stay quiet here. They made moves. They spent some money, but nothing that's going to put them over a top five pick next year. But nonetheless, keep them competitive in games. The Eagles signed nobody. That's what happens when you don't have the cap, right? Jordan Davis did get extended as well, 3 years, $78 million on that signing there. I'm going to give them a B minus. Pittsburgh Steelers signed Jamal Dean, cornerback from the Buccaneers, 3 years, $36.5 million. Rico Dotto, running back, coming over to Pittsburgh, and then they traded for Michael Pittman Jr., retained Asante Samuel Jr. So I'm going to give the Pittsburgh Steelers an A minus. They have two good wide receivers now, two former wide receiver ones on their former teams in the Colts in Seattle, and then last year DK with Pittsburgh. So he's going to get some help now, and I'm thinking Aaron Rodgers will come back after the signing. Jamal Dean, very good corner last year, ranked and rated as one of the top cornerbacks in football, open field tackler, and I think he's going to be a great fit in Pittsburgh. They love their cornerbacks. And then Rico Dotto, he's going to fit perfect in Pittsburgh. A physical runner. Jalen Warren's more elusive speed, but he could crack too. I really like what Pittsburgh did here to stay competitive in a very tough division. San Francisco 49ers, Mike Evans, 3-year deal, $60.4 million. And then Vidarian Lowe, 2 years, $12 million. I'm not big on that signing, but Mike Evans, a good deal. I'm going to give 49ers a C here. I like Evans. It's unfortunate he went to the 49ers, but it's a big body receiver for Purdy, a goal line red zone target there. He is getting up there in age and had a bunch of issues last year with his hamstring, and now going to the 49ers where players tend to get hurt a lot. We will see. Vidarian Lowe is going to be a swing tackle depth piece. They are probably going to trade Trent Williams if they could find someone, possible to release him as well. But I'm going to give the 49ers a C here. I think Mike Evans gives Purdy maybe his best receiver he's ever had, unless you think Ayuk fits that criteria. Seattle, they get Rashid Shaheed back, Josh Joby, Trey Thomas. So bringing guys back last year, didn't sign anyone. So I'll give Seattle a C here. You lost some guys, but overall, Shaheed, they traded for him. There was rumors he would leave, but he comes back on a 3-year, $51 million contract. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kenneth Gainwell and Alex Anzalone. Two guys I think they got in a pretty good deal. Kenneth Gainwell, 2 years, $14 million. Alex, 2 years, $17 million, a good linebacker there. I'm going to give the Buccaneers a C here. Gainwell and Bucky Irving will be the new tandem now if Rashard White ends up signing elsewhere. And they did retain Cade Otton, 3 years, $30 million. So that's a huge target there for Baker Mayfield. Tennessee Titans, another team that spent the bag, just like the Raiders. They bring in Wan'Dale Robinson, 4 years, $70 million. John Franklin Myers, 3 years, $63 million. Alante Taylor, 3 years, $60 million. I really like that signing. Cordell Float, Daniel Bellinger, Austin Schultman, Cordell Volson, and then Mitch Trubisky to back up Cam Ward. Some good signings here. It's a new with Saleh now. It's a new regime in Tennessee. I like Wan'Dale Robinson a lot. What he did last year with the Giants, he really stepped his game up the second half of the year. Franklin Myers, as a Rams fan, I know what he can do. He's a very good guy who could create a lot of interior pressure. Alante Taylor, solid signing. That was someone I wanted. Very physical cornerback who plays good man to man. So Salah's getting his guys in. I'm going to give the Tennessee Titans an A minus. The Washington Commanders to end it. They had Adafe Owe from the Chargers. 4 years, $100 million, so a big contract there. Tim Settle, 3 years, $24 million. Amik Robinson, 2 years, $16 million at cornerback from the Detroit Lions. Retained a lot of guys: Laramie Tunsil, Marcus Mariota, Traylon Burks, Jake Moody, Drake Jackson. I'm gonna give the Commanders a C here as well. Um, they got a solid edge, maybe the best edge available in free agency, which was a big need for them last year. So crazy moves, but you gotta love it. There will be more moves tomorrow. Probably gonna get off this and see some moves that I missed, but I'm coming up with a show this week to give my final grade when free agency is officially done. And then there's going to be NFL, NBA content throughout the season coming from me. So thank you everyone for tuning in. It's your boy Shay. Like, subscribe, share. Appreciate all the support we've been getting so far. Appreciate you. Uncut Thoughts.